Good morning everyone, I'm Annie and I am late to the game when it comes to Fourth Wing. I don't actually quite know when this was published exactly, but there are so many people that have been going on and on and on about this, and it's taken me a little while to get to it because originally when this first came out there were a lot of people that said it was quite similar to Priory the Orange Tree, and I have DNF that one and I'm not really here for that story. It's just not really quite my kind of thing. It's very political, very slow. So I was a little bit nervous to pick this up. However, more recently people have been saying a lot of different things and saying that, I mean, the primary bit that I've heard people saying is that the love story in this is amazing. And yes, please. I have finally gotten around to buying this. Also, I think we're going to be getting 2 of these a year. There's apparently 5 in the series and we're meant to be getting like 2 a year. This came out earlier in 2023. And I think the next one is coming out in November, which is only like 2 months away. So I am behind. And if I want to keep up, then I'm going to have to get a wiggle on. Also, sad news for all of us who really enjoy paperbacks over hardbacks, because if you want a paperback, you're going to be way behind on the game. I mean, it's great that we're going to be getting 2 a year. Welcome to the brutal and elite world of Basgaith War College. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the Scribe Quadrant, living a life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, Dragon Riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would likely kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Xaden Riorson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet, with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective walls are falling, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Everyone at Basgaith has an agenda, so sleep with one eye open, because once you enter, there are only 2 ways out: graduate or die. Now that sounds amazing. I get what people are saying it was kind of similar to Priory the Orange Tree, because again, that's very like Dragon Riders, war, protecting the kingdom, like it's giving that kind of vibe. It is just shy of 500 pages, so it is quite a bit smaller than Priory the Orange Tree, which I think is 600 and something. I am actually looking forward to this. I've actually done my best to like not really look too much at like fan art and bits and pieces. I genuinely have tried. However, there's certain things that slip through the cracks. You can't necessarily always help it. I'm late to the game, it's kind of my own fault. I've heard people say that I think it's Xaden is quite similar to Tamlin and is giving very Tamlin vibes, in the sense of everyone thinks that he could possibly be a red herring and not the guy that Violet ends up with long term. And all I have to say to that is I don't think I'm quite ready for that emotional rollercoaster train wreck quite yet. I am still a little bit hurt over the whole Tamlin thing, and that was years ago, and I'm currently doing a reread of SJM with my friends. When we get onto ACOTAR, it is going to hurt all over again because I am stupid and can't see red flags out the gate. It's a very nice dust jacket. It's gold, of course I'm going to like it. It's gold. It's a nice dust jacket. I think part of the reason why I hate hardbacks is they're so, like, this is boring. And I know you can get special editions, but I don't want to have to buy a special edition to just not see just like permanent black all the time and then like a tiny bit of stuff on the spine. I like paperbacks where I can see the pretty cover all the time without having an extra piece of flimsy paper that's going to get ripped in about 2 seconds if I leave it in the wrong place. I am quite excited to get the book started. We've got the map on the end papers, but there's also the map like a couple of pages in, and we've also got a map of the War College. I have a feeling is going to become very useful, and because this is going to be quite a big fantasy, when I say big, 5-book long fantasy series, like I said, I've tried to stay away from spoilers and bits and pieces, but I imagine it is going to be quite detailed. I am going to be annotating, so I have a fresh stack of tabs. I have a brand new Tombow marker, which I've picked up this tan one because trying to get a whole bunch of highlighters and stuff to match these colours exactly is way too stressful for what I can deal with right now. This is like a really nice tan colour, and the whole point is that it's dark enough that you can see it's highlighted, but it's light enough that if you're rereading it, you don't actually have to pay attention to the highlighting because it's not that obtrusive. And that is something that I am here for and I quite like. So you've got the brush tip for your highlighting, and then you've also got this like little nib tip for writing or just underlining or anything else. We are going to do some annotating, and I did open this up just before I started recording, and I love this bit, which is like just before chapter 1. So it says, the following text has been faithfully transcribed from Neruvian into the modern language by Jesinia Nelward, curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basgaith War College. All events are true, and names have been preserved to honour the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Malek. And I love that because I already feel like I'm like part of the world, and I've literally just like picked up a historic tome and I'm not about to read fantasy fiction story. I am going to tab up my maps so that I can get back to it, especially the actual War College. Let's get going. I don't know what I'm using all these colours for yet, but I'm just going to lay them out on this blank page so that I can add in what I'm using them for as and when I get there and start using them. So I've got to chapter 6 and I'm just like wholly obsessed. I can't even put this down. I feel like I've been reading for all of about 5 minutes. But update on the tabbing situations. We're using 8. So we've got friendships, romance, important bits of information, foreshadowing, quotes, magic, emotional scenes, and world building. And it's looking quite colourful at the moment. I don't know how well you can see that. It's pretty colourful. I'm really liking this. I'm just tapping away to my heart's content. This is great. Okay, I just got to chapter 15. I have been tabbing away, as you can see, and honestly, I am living, breathing, dying for this. Honestly, I don't even know why I waited to read this. I'm like permanently smiling because I'm enjoying it that much. Like, I've not put it down all day. I started it this morning. We're at chapter 15. I am just like wholly obsessed with this to the point where I've actually just gotten upset because I've gone to look at the pre-orders for book 2, which comes out in November, and at the moment I can't get the Waterstones exclusive edition, so I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for that. I'm like a third of the way through and I'm like trying to order the next book. I am probably gonna finish this in like the next few days. I'm just like I'm just fully here for this. I'm 100% obsessed. I'm loving every second of it. We've still got the 8 tab colours, and we've just met her dragon. And honestly, there is nothing that is more perfection than what just happened. She's like convinced that the golden dragon is going to be hers, or she's at the very least going to help her because they're so similar. Then the big dragon, who hasn't had another rider and this, that and the other, who literally the second that the teacher said that was the dragon that the guy was riding while trying to save her brother, I was like, oh, there you go, there's some foreshadowing, 100%, that's coming back, thank you very much. And guess what? It did. And I'm so here for it. And he's like not taking any of her shit already. And he's a vibe, truly. Literally, you wouldn't have even had to have told me that there was like a romance subplot in this. Because the second we saw Zayden, I was like, I know you're rolling things, honey. I know you're rolling things, and I'm here for it. I love him already. He's
Like, he's not even, like, particularly grumpy. It's not like a grumpy sunshine. He's so sarcastic, and he gives me, like, British guy vibes. I can't words properly because I'm just that obsessed with it and I'm loving it that much. Except for, I don't know why I waited to start this. I don't know why I didn't buy this the second it came out. I am gonna be finishing this in, like, a few days. Undoubtedly. It's such a vibe. That was rude. We've got a cup of tea. I don't actually have my window open for about an hour because it's been really hot today again. So I'm gonna make the most of it while I can. I literally don't want this to end. If this was like another 1,000 pages, I would be so happy, but it must end. I've taken a little bit of time to try and gather my thoughts, and honestly, I can feel the hangover coming. I can feel the book hangover. This is without a doubt incredible. Truly, I have not read anything that has like made me just feel so much in so long. I was doing life admin yesterday afternoon and I could not wait to get home just to be able to sit and read this. I have not felt that way. I have not been so excited and just so consumed by a book in literally forever. This is definitely at this point in the year, without a doubt, the best book I have read this year, and I do not say that lightly because I have read some amazing books this year, but this literally tops everything. I have really gone ham on all of this annotating. Let's just have a look at the damage that we've done to my sticky tabs. So I only ended up using about 8 colours, and as you can see, one of these is completely gone. All 8 colours that I used. So looking at the second one, I have completely used up the colour that I used to annotate romance, which I've had to go into a 3rd sheet. And some of the rest of these, like the quotes and the important bits, are looking pretty low. There's not very many tabs left on those 2 colours as well. So ended up dipping into 3 sheets in total. This is now a very colourful book, and honestly, buying that Tombow marker that I bought in 942, which I think is tan, honestly, it was a nightmare to get hold of. I literally went to about 4 different shops as well as looked online, and everywhere was out of stock. I now know why, because all of the book girlies have it, and if you don't have it, let me tell you, this is like truly the best colour, because like it's dark enough that you can see that you've highlighted it, it's light enough that you can still read over it with literally 0 issue, and because it's the dual tip, you can also write with it, which is truly unparalleled. The tabs I ended up using was friendships, romance, important, foreshadowing, quotes, magic, emotional, and world building. And like I said, we used the most of romance, and then important and quotes were the next 2 most used tabs, but there's a lot of tabs on this. There is a lot of tabs on this. So it wasn't like lacking in any one of those particular areas. If I was going to force myself to use another colour, I probably would have added like comedic moments into that, because honestly, Taran is a comedy king and there is nothing else I need in my life apart from more of comedy king Taran. I'm obsessed. All three of my brain cells are still fully entrapped by this book, by this story, and I literally can't think of anything else right now. Just from start to finish, it's just truly a masterpiece. You didn't even have to tell me that this had any sort of romance element to it, because the moment we saw Xaden, I was like, 100%, it's you, babe, and I need nothing else. I despise Darren as a character. He absolutely grinds my gears. He's just like totally like unjustified in everything that he does, and he just, ugh. I don't like him, I don't want him around. Get rid of him and I'll be happy. But at the same time, he adds that dynamic that is definitely needed, because without that it would obviously be a lot flatter than it is. So as much as he's needed and as much as I don't like him, like I get it, but I don't want him. I really love the friendships in this, and like especially like the family dynamic of like learning about everything that happened to Brennan and how he died, and then everything, all the advice and stuff that she gets from Mira, and then in turn from Brennan through the journal. I just think that's like a really powerful element in it. And then obviously when Mira's like, oh, don't make friends, just like make allies, like they have to be useful to you. And she's like, yeah, but friends though. And I love the friends that she makes, as heartbreaking as it is. It's just, I can't actually put it into words, because it's one of those things that's like so special and so beautifully done, and it's like so intricately woven. Words don't actually do it justice. It's one of those things that you truly have to experience to understand. I went through every range of emotions reading this, and that is something like I truly love. Like I ugly cried, I laughed, I was in love. I could not wait to get back to this book. Anytime I had to stop, it was like physically painful to stop and force myself to go to sleep and force myself to do other bits and pieces. Like it's physically painful. I cannot wait for the next book. I have already pre-ordered the next book. I cannot wait for that to arrive. I will 100% be doing on the vlog when we get the next book, because I am not going to be ready to let go of these characters for a long time. Through the entire time that I have been reading in my life, there have been a few shining characters that I would truly call comfort characters. Mainly just Percy Jackson. Yeah, mainly just Percy Jackson, really, in all honesty. But Violet is now a comfort character for me.
We went through this phase, like especially in like YA books, where the main character was just like so bland that it was really easy to insert yourself into their shoes and feel like you're part of them, or you can relate to them, because they were just so bland and there just really was nothing to them. And this is the literal opposite. There's so many like specific things about Violet, but there's at least one thing that basically is a guarantee that like you will connect to on some level or other. You know, she's just so intricately created, and all of the main characters are so just like intricately woven. They are like real people in the fact of they have all these little bits and pieces of their personalities, and like no, they don't necessarily share all the bits and pieces of their personality straight out the gate, because as humans we wouldn't do that, and that is something I really love. There's still like mystery and excitement even through to the last page. There's still like so much that's going on, and so much that you just like don't know, because it's unrealistic for you to know everything about a person straight out the gate. Our main two characters, Violet and Xaden, are still finding out things about each other, and I imagine they will be for pretty much the next few books. I think there's meant to be 5 in total. I think until we get to the very last page of that last book, there probably still will be things that they're like trying to find out about each other.
Everything about this is just like 100% a win for me. There wasn't a single moment where I was like, oh no, that doesn't work for me, or that does like kind of puts me off. And I've DNF'd a couple of books recently just because I just really wasn't feeling it, and there was not even a single moment of hesitation that I had for this book. I just literally can't even explain how amazing of an experience this has been. If you haven't read this, if you were like me and was like, oh no, you know, it's just gonna be like every other dragon book. Honestly, no. This is the most amazing book I have read this year. This is probably the most amazing book that I have read in a very long time. My thoughts are gonna be consumed by this for a while yet. The book hangover is setting in. I am gonna give myself some time to grieve the fact that this book is over and I have to wait till November. And honestly, I feel a lot sorry for the people who read this when it first came out, because you've had to wait a lot longer than I am, and I'm already hurting. I'm also very glad that we're going to be getting 2 books a year if this kind of carries on. If we're going to get 2 books a year for the rest of the series, I'm going to be so happy, because at least it won't be as painful as waiting a year in between each book. It's still not fast enough. I need all of them now. That is how obsessed I am. So thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with me. This has been an incredible emotional roller coaster. Like I said, as soon as I get my copy of Iron Flame, which is book 2 in this series, I will 100% be doing a reading vlog straight out the gate. 90% sure be annotating again. We're going to be going through all the motions again. I am so excited for it. I am going to go wallow in my book hangover with my fresh cup of tea, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe. Welcome to the brutal and elite world of Basgaith War College. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant.